Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Revival tournament for Harry Potter TCG. Last time I said that today I would be playing the finals, but unfortunately another round was added to the tournament, so I still have to fight to make it to the top cut, and I wanted to explain the tournament situation really quickly. So what I have on screen here is the current score for everybody. Two people already played, so they finished their round. So you can see BD Sachs has 7 and then a +3. So his total score is now 10, but that is after playing the final round. And same with Time Twister has a final score of 1 now. So the situation as it stands is I'm going to play Nicola, who is at 10. I am at 9. We have not yet have had Geldwin and Elder play. So it is, and if you win 2-0, you get 3 points. If you win 2-1, you get 2 points. And if you lose, but win one of the games, then you get 1 point. If you lose all of your games, you get 0. And there will be no tie breaking for the top cut. And in this case, it means that if there is any tie for second place, then the top cut will be expanded to accommodate for that. So right now, there are a few ways that we could end up with a top 4. So or maybe yeah, there's like 2 ways. So if Geldwin over here wins 2-0 in his match, he will be at 10 points. And then let's say I beat Nicola 2-0, or I lose to him 2-1, then we would have 3 people at 10 points, and then there would be a top 4. It could also be the case that we get a top 3 for the same reasons. So yeah, in the case that I win 2-1, then there is no way for anything but a top 2 cut with me and Nicola. So if I win against Nicola 2-1, we will both be at 11, and we will both end up in a final basically, and the other people won't make the top cut. So that is the current tournament standings. I will jump straight into the match after a very short break, so stay tuned. I'll be right back. And now we are back. Let me just remove the text and what else? This thing, so we can see the game. So we're rolling a d20 to see who starts. And he's gonna get to start. So Nicola has went undefeated in this tournament. So this should be the greatest challenge so far. And he gets to start, so bad news for us. Oh, whoops. Happens sometimes when I try to use the keyboard, that I draw too few cards. Typically I mulligan hands with 2 lessons. Because I think we have a good chance of getting 3 or more. Okay, he mulligans. I think yeah, with 2 lessons I feel it should be a mulligan, even though I do like the fact that we have 3 cards that cost 5 that we can play reasonably early. So we're up against Rubius Hagrid. That says once during each of your turns, when you discard one of your Care of Magical lessons, Care of Magical Creatures lessons from play, you may draw a card and put a Care of Magical Creatures lessons from your pile into your discard hand. So I think that's meant to support a lot of the creatures that discard lessons when you play them, but I don't know if that's what he's going for, so that's going to be interesting to see. But we mulligan. That's better. Okay, good, good. So far, so good. And Hagrid also provides a power. Alright, he just starts with 2 lessons, that makes sense. So we draw for the turn, and I just play 2 lessons and pass to him. So Hagrid is interesting because he provides you the Care of Magical Creatures power, but then his ability only applies to Care of Magical Creatures lessons. So you still have to include the Care of Magical Creatures lessons. Alright, so it kind of looks like an aggro deck because we're being faced with a Sandstone Gargoyle right away. This one deals 2 extra damage while I have no creatures in play. So we have an extra incentive there to to play our creatures. So this turn I have to think a little bit. Because we can target the gargoyle. And that's not terrible. But another thing we can do is to aim to get rid of these 2 transfiguration lessons. If he is playing those creatures that discard Care of Magical Creatures lessons, maybe those are what we want to target? I'm not sure. Or I should try to stem the tide of damage right away by playing Picking on Evil on the Gargoyle. This was a tough turn because I don't know his deck. As long as we draw into more creatures, the Gargoyle will eventually not be super high value. So I think I'll play the 2 lessons and see what he does. Because there might be a better target next turn. Of course, this turn he can now play Picking on Evil on us. And we might yet again be punished for not having hate against creatures in our sideboard. Drawing the sword is the card that we would really want to have there. Yeah, black bat. 2 to discard pile. So he's just going very aggressive with creatures. Basically the nightmare for this deck. Okay, yeah, he's making me wish I had discarded one of the transfigurations. Passing to us. So I draw for the turn. Yeah, we're already in a big pickle. But we can play double Lost Notes on the transfigurations to stop him from playing more stuff for now. But that's only for now. There are also very small creatures that he might be playing in this kind of deck. That he could still play if we discard those. So we'll get rid of a transfiguration to stop any kind of... And the other one, I guess. So this should rule out some plays at least for next turn. But yeah, this is bad. Our this is we keep well, in the match against Elder, this was very apparent that this was a weakness, and yeah, it's being shown once again. He plays Hagrid Needs Help that we've seen before. So I get a card for the turn. Alright. So this is one McGonagall can get rid of. Also, we can solve it to get 3 cards. Then we're basically taking 11 damage if we draw the 3. Then I'll be at 24 cards. But that gives me the chance to draw into cards that we can use to get rid of his creatures. So I think that's still worth it. We're only gonna have one action this turn no matter what. He's pointing out, I'll post. Yeah, if we solve Hagrid Needs Help, then what do we do? Now, it might be better to... Yeah, this is really problematic for us, because we don't have the time to like hinder his damage enough. So I could just use McGonagall to get rid of Hagrid Needs Help. Then again, if he has Through the Arc or something like that, or Escaping the Dursleys, it's a problem for us. Well, maybe Escaping the Dursleys isn't, but... Yeah. Yeah, we have to be really careful here. So yeah, so going to 24 to solve it, then picking on Neville on the Gargoyle, then he has 4 damage on the board, and we have 3 more cards for next turn. We're gonna take, we're gonna take 4, be at 20, draw to 19, and we're still out of range of Scribbler here. Yeah, so it's not great. But if we use McGonagall on this and then there's Through the Arc, the game is over. I think I'll try to solve it. So I take 8, draw 3, and we get the cards that we want. This is perfect, picking on Neville to get rid of creatures. Prickly Porcupine would have also been nice, because that makes the gargoyle less good. But now we have 2 picking on Nevils to potentially clean up these bats next turn. So we might actually be able to stem the tide of damage in time. But it all depends on where his power curve is at. So I draw my card for the turn. Get rid of 1 bat. And get rid of the other one. And I guess he's going to reapply pressure soon. We can, next turn we might have to climb up to Scribbly Force power. Let's see how many creatures we have left. We have lost, oh, we have lost a lot of our creatures, so that's not great. He just uses his turn to draw cards though, so that is good for us. But I have to check here, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 creatures gone, which is really bad. So we're passing to him. So now we unlock Scribbly Force, which will buy us a lot of time, but we need to get our creatures on the board or we're screwed. So, okay, plays another black bat. We take 2 damage. And he passes to us. So we draw for the turn. So even though it hurts, I think I have to play Owl Post here, because we need to see a creature to win this game. There's no other way. And then I'll play Scribbly Force to delay him a bit. So Hagrid only applies on his turn. Okay, he takes the lesson back and lets the bat go, which I'm okay with, but I guess that means he so he draws and he draws. Oh, yeah, he draws for the turn, then he draws an extra one. So we draw for the turn. So now we're at 1, 2, 3, 4. We're at 6 lessons. So we can play 1 Care of Magical Creatures and Invisible Ink on 2 lessons. And then back to him. But, so, I don't know. Our creatures make us draw cards too, so I don't know if it's possible even at this point. Okay, he's using Peeves. So that is okay. Playing Peeves, we send these to discard. Draw 7. Now I wish I had healing. Yeah, I think it's I could just concede here, but let's not do that. Yeah, so yeah, Peeves is the knockout blow. I can play the 2 creatures, but then I'm at 1 card. So I think I'll just concede. So we go to game 2. Hopefully I can eke out a win against this when I'm starting. I should just check what he has. Pixie and stuff. Okay, interesting. No Welsh Green Dragon, Forbidden Corridor. Okay. All good to know. Now, question is if we want to sideboard at all. And I'm not convinced that we do. The one thing we could make use of is Filch. But I only saw 1 adventure. It could be that he will sideboard in more adventures, or that he actually had more adventures that we didn't see. Then Filch has not proven to be a great sideboard card, though. I think in McGonagall, it seems like it's kind of redundant. Yeah, I was more scared of adventures when I added it to this sideboard than I am now. Yeah, so I'll just stay with this. And we draw 7. And we're gonna mulligan. And we have to pray. Yeah, this hand is not perfect. Only 2 lessons. And we really need to, if we are to win this matchup, we really need to get those lessons on the board. So this is very scary for us. I was just waiting for him to pass the turn. Alright, we do get another lesson. So hope is not lost, but we kind of have to top deck lessons at this point. It looked like the creatures that discard Care of Magical Creatures lessons in this deck are big creatures. So we draw for the turn. So we can only play 1 lesson this turn, so we'll draw an extra 1. And then we'll play a lesson. Got a Picking on Neville. That is a nice card. Another lesson. And a Black Bat, so we take 2 damage. Yeah, we don't have a great answer against that one. We get our card for the turn. I think for now I'll save the Pick on Neville and accept that I'm going to take 2. And just get rid of 1 of the lessons and hope that that means he won't be able to play more creatures on his next turn. And we pass back. So we're going to take 2. So yeah, what we're hoping for is him having to draw extra cards. Wait, did he? Yeah, so he drew 1 extra card. So that means he is low on lessons. I'll target this Transfiguration. And we can, whoops, then we can play this one. So hopefully this means he still has to draw for extra cards. Now it's 6 power. Again, outposts don't do as much as we want, but at least we can play it next turn to draw 3. Oh, right, yeah, I forgot to take. Oh shit, he discarded Lessons. And those are the cards that we want right now. Also, if we draw a lesson now, we can play a Capybara right away, which is really good. We did draw a lesson. That is really nice. I think that's the play. Play a lesson, play the Capybara. Let's just make sure I didn't miscount. We have 5 lessons plus McGonagall, so 1 more power is 7. And I think I can save the Scribbler Force for just a second. And then we pass to him. Now we have enough lessons to play Invisible Ink next turn. If we get 1 win in this match, that means we are at least guaranteed to get into the top cut. Oh yeah, I need to take damage. So he goes Lesson, Prickly Porcupine. Alright, and he's passing to us. So we draw for the turn, and we're gonna deal 3 to him. Interesting. He has, I think he sideboarded this card in, the Streeler. I don't know about Filch, but Streeler deals 1 damage to a creature. But all of our creatures actually have more health than 1, so it doesn't do that much unless you get to play 2 on our Porcupines, or 3 on a Capybara, which is a lot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lessons, 7 power. I think so. I think he's assuming we have lower health on our creatures than we have. But now we start sniping the lessons with Invisible Ink. Yep. Because the first thing we want to do is stop the stream of cards, of creature cards, and then remove the creature cards, because it's easier for us to remove the lessons. So now we have to pass, and I'm going to take 4. And discarding lessons now is good. Another black bat, so we take 2 more damage. Yes, 2 damage to discard pile. So we draw for the turn. Our Capybara deals the damage. We can play another Invisible Ink, and then we can Scribbler Force the black bats. Yeah, I think that's the play. Because, yeah, otherwise we just give him a choice between the Porcupine and the black bat. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So, Invisible Ink, yes. And then Scribbler Force. So 1 bat to the hand, 1 bat to the discard pile, and back to him. And hopefully now he'll be locked for a while, so we have time to clean up the creatures and start winning the race in terms of damage. Forgot to take damage again. Surprisingly, yeah, I think I'm tired today because I keep missing that. So he's drawing, which is great news. So we draw for the turn. Another invisible ink, which will be perfect. And we have to remind him. And yeah, so now this turn will be the outpost, I guess. And then we want to get rid of these, so I think we'll just Scribbly Force. And save the Defindo. We have to be careful not to die to Peeves or something here, but beyond that, I think we're pretty safe. So we pass to him. And we should pay attention to his discard pile. Peeves is gone. He could play more than one Peeves. Then there's Unicorn. He's okay, so he plays Madame Pomfrey and heals himself. So probably he will get Peeves back. He also get the Streelers back. So it looks like all the lessons he's going to put back, of course, because he needs those to play the other cards. And then whatever else is left over, but I guess the cheapest ones, including Peeves. As Peeves can damage us quite a bit. And then, the cheap creatures, the Sandstone Gargoyles. But I think we're in a good position. So we draw for the turn. Play the Porcupine. Get a card. I think at this point, we don't want to be drawing extra cards. Let's see how many creatures are left in the deck, because those are the main things we can play right now. Yeah, so there's 3 creatures in the deck, so drawing for cards is kind of redundant. So I'm just gonna play another lesson and pass. In case he has Grip Hook or whatever to deal some damage to us. Then we'll control his game with our spells while these creatures finish the game. That's the plan. So we draw a card for the turn. And yeah, do I just play the lessons? I guess so. And we discard 1 lesson. It makes it so he can't play a Sandstone Gargoyle. Plays 2 lessons. So we draw for the turn. Maybe drawing 1 is fine here. I'll draw 1. I'm not being completely consistent. I think drawing 1 is fine. And we pass. Did we discard Peeves or no? No, he's playing Peeves. All right. And using him. So we send these to the discard. We're going to draw 7. And it's our turn. Yeah, I'm not sure. Could be he has Grip Hook. I have 8 cards in my hand. So grip hook would put us at... I think we just play the capybara. And then we... He's just... Yeah, all of the cards in his deck are lessons now. He's playing 2 lessons. We deal the damage. So now we can Scribbly Force the lessons. Yep, and I'll play one other lesson just to not die to grip hook. It's possible he plays curl. I don't expect it, but it could be. And then... Alright, good game. So we got a win, which means we will safely be in the top cut. But now we're gonna be on the second player side, which probably means we'll lose. And I won't sideboard. Maybe he even sideboarded out the adventures. I didn't see any. So just... I will presume that. Pumphrey is a good card, but only in the right situations. If you draw her early, then she doesn't do anything. So you have to be careful. So 3 lessons, but no way to interact early. So I'm not sure about this. We do have a creature. I think keeping is sound. It's not amazing, but go for the safe one. So he will start. And he was keeping, so I guess it's a good hand for him. Maybe that means I definitely should mulligan, actually, now that I think about it. Because if he likes his hand, then we need to really like our hand, I think, in order to... Yeah, I agree. You can save Pomfrey for later. It's just sometimes in the early game that means that you don't get the place that you want early enough. Actually, okay, so with Porcupine, this might actually be really good because he hasn't started playing creatures. I don't know what he's going for now, but he's only playing lessons, and we have a Porcupine. Oh, yeah, Porcupine makes sense too. So he's doing the same thing that I am. And he's passing. So I draw my card for the turn. So I'm gonna picking to Neville his Transfiguration and then play the Porcupine. And play the Porcupine. And we pass to him. But yeah, there's a big risk we get overrun now. We need 2 more lessons to get to Scribbly Force power, so we are really in a pickle here. So he plays this Pixie, that when he plays it, he can look at our hand and choose a card and place it under the Pixie. And when the Pixie leaves play, we get the card back. Oh yeah, I need to reveal... So now he should be able to see our hand. And then we have to conceal our hand. Oh, so he passed to us, I think? Yeah. Yes, so we get a lesson, which is what we wanted, so that's good. However, he's dealing 5 damage per turn now, and we're only dealing 2. We can't get to 7 this turn, but we can probably get to 7 next turn and play the Capybara. So that's what we're aiming for. So we play a lesson, play the Outpost for 3 cards, and not perfect. We needed to see at least 1 lesson so we can get to 7. If we top deck a lesson next turn, it could be good. But again, he's ahead in terms of damage, and we're not able to stop him in time. So we just discard 5. Yeah, this is one of those matchups that can really only be solved when you go second. You can really only be solved by having drawing the sword in your sideboard. That's how you win going second. Pawn. Wait, what? I don't understand what he means. Oh, sorry. Oh, of course. I'm just being slow. So he's picking a Neville under it. He's drawing a card. Nice. This pixie is quite nice. So he passes to us. We get our card for the turn. That is not a lesson, but it's something we can play. So let's do that. We get a card. Oh. I was revealing my hand the whole time. So he saw what we drew. And unfortunately I have to draw an extra card once again. So this is really getting out of hand now. Yep. So we draw a card, pass to him. We're gonna take, at this point we take 8. Yeah, so maybe in retrospect, keeping is not something you can do if you don't have anything to interact with him early, because it just snowballs so quickly. We really have no way to stop it in time. Oh, this is how you make good use of Haggard. Yeah, I noticed he was playing Unicorn. But this is actually... I mean, this actually makes Unicorn super duper good. So that makes a lot of sense, because Unicorn gives you an extra action each turn. The only drawback is that you have to discard one of your Care of Magical Creatures lessons. But a Haggard gives you a draw and the lesson back when you do that. So you're not really losing anything anymore, because you're not losing an action playing the Unicorn. You're only losing one Care of Magical Creatures from play, and that's it. And we still don't have... a way to get to 7. Yeah, I think there is no way to stop the flow of damage in time now. I can play Outpost and see some more cards. And I can play Lost Notes on the Transfiguration. But that doesn't matter. Because that is done in preemptively to stop him from playing things, but it cannot... But it cannot get rid of his creatures. Alright. We still play the Outpost, I suppose, because in theory we still need more cards, even if we definitely will die now. And yeah, maybe my best try is not to play Lost Notes right now. And to just play the Care of Magical Creatures, because then we can play Scribbly Force and Capybara on the next turn. Or even Scribbly Force on a Pixie and get the Scribbly Force back and play another Scribbly Force. I kind of like that idea. let's try it. So we play a lesson and pass. And I take 8 once again. And yeah, we discard 8. And now he has 3 actions for the turn because of Unicorn. That's actually, I didn't think about this, but that's a really strong reason to play Hagrid. He plays the Forbidden Corridor. For each player's turn, they have to choose one of their cards in play. Oh, he plays Peeves. Never mind. So yeah, so we send them all to discard. We get 7 cards. And yeah, this means we absolutely should die next turn. So the Forbidden Corridor is a location that says before a player's turn, they have to choose one of their cards in play and discard it. Oh, right, yeah. Before draw, I have to respond to the Forbidden Corridor. And discard one of my cards from play. Which is not good. Because we don't want to get rid of the... Yeah, well, it doesn't matter at this point. Let's just... I don't think there's a way, but let's just double check. 1, Scribbly Force, gone. 2. There is a Scribbly Force left. If we get another Scribbly Force, we can reduce the damage by... We have to target a Pixie. And then, I guess, a Porcupine. And then 2 Porcupines. Then we take 1 damage per turn. Yeah, I mean, I discard a Porcupine because it's the only out. Alright, so we did get a Scribbly Force. So we get the other Scribbly Force back. And now I can play the other Scribbly Force. And I have to target the 2 Porcupines to survive. We're only stalling here, and we're going to lose, but you know, we have to give it our best fight. So now I'm going to take 1 damage from the remaining Pixie. And he has to Forbidden Corridor. Oh, that's another synergy. So that's also, I guess, why he's playing it. Because this allows him to get rid of a lesson and get a draw from the corridor. So that's nice. And he plays a Pixie. So we can look at our hands. Reveal our cards to him. He gets the Lost Notes. He still has 2 more actions, bear that in mind. And a Black Bat for 2 damage. Yeah, I'll concede. Yeah, well played to him. Congrats. That was something we cannot stop. Yeah, Corridor says before your turn, but that's one of the weird things of the Harry Potter TCG. Before your turn is actually a step within your turn. It's kind of stupid, but yeah, that's how it works, I think. All right, so he's going to go to the bathroom, and we're gonna do a post-match chat. So this result means that I will be at 10 points. He is now at 13 points. So he's clear first, won all of his matches. And we had another guy who was at 10 points, and then Geldwin might also end up at 10 points. So we're either going to see a top 3 or a top 4. A top 4, I guess, would be best for me because it introduces the possibility that Nicola gets knocked out before I have to face him again, because this was a really bad matchup for us. If it's a top 3, that means I'm going to play the other person on 10 points, and whoever wins gets to play Nicola in the final. I'm going to take a short break just like him, and then we'll be back and just give some quick thoughts on the match, maybe the format as well. We'll see what he wants to chat about. So I'll be right back. And I am back. I'm gonna put on the audio captured, so we should be able to hear him on Discord. And while we're waiting for him, I might as well go over something I thought I could talk about from last stream, which is about the deck we played last time. So it was an Arthur Weasley deck. He's a guy that lets you once per turn use an action to choose one of your items in play and do that much damage to your opponent. And yeah, usually all starting character abilities, they do something right away, or they have do something to catapult you forward, like giving you extra actions, giving you extra, I don't know, extra actions is the main thing, I guess. McGonagall, she starts with an extra lesson, which is sort of like an extra action plus a card. Also makes it so you don't have to include as many power types. So a lot of things just have like pretty consistent, persistent value. And Arthur Weasley has the problem that he needs a particular card in play before he starts gaining value. So the big benefit of him is, like, once you have your item in play that you can use the action on, it's very efficient. The problem is really, first of all, getting to that place, because you're at a speed disadvantage compared to decks that gain extra actions or start with an extra power, and your things can get discarded. Yeah, and that's the other main thing. You're also your plan relies on having a particular card in play, and if that gets discarded, you have to kind of start over. Or maybe not start over, but if you don't have another copy, then you can't do much. So that's the downside. The benefit is like you only have to include a few cards for your damage plan, and then the rest of your deck can be whatever you want. So in the ideal scenario where you're facing a deck that can't interact with you that much, that can't discard your cards that much, it's I would say a lot of decks do that, unfortunately. But if they don't, this broken item card, which is literally the name, I'm not saying the card is broken, actually seems pretty good, because it has a high power cost, but you can play it more easily than other items of the same power cost. And the only real use of it, I think, is Arthur Weasley's ability, because it's an item just, you play it, when you have it in play, it doesn't do anything. It's just you can lower the cost to play it. And then you can start using Arthur. All right, that was my short talk on that, I suppose, because I think he's back now. And chat, if you're there, please let me know if you can hear him. Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I think I'll turn you up a little bit, if that's possible. Let me see.
Right click on my icon and
there you go. Yeah. Can you try talking again?
Yes, again. Talking again. Keeping my talking up.
Okay, nice. It looks like chat can hear you too, so that's perfect. All right, yeah. So yeah, thanks for coming on. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I have no idea who I'm introducing myself to, but
just I don't know, random people on YouTube watching Harry Potter TCG Revival stream. Not that many people.
Yeah,
but
people call me Fritz. I'm a designer for the HP TCG Revival team. And that's basically what I do with the game. I don't really like Harry Potter, but I love the game.
Okay, cool. All right. What were well, okay, so first of all, you're a designer on the game, you're saying?
In the Revival team, yeah, so the new cards, the funding ones.
That's cool. There's a lot of new cool stuff, I would say, so good job.
Okay, thank you.
Have you been designing with them from the start, or only more recently?
Yeah, I joined when we were about to make Heroes Slytherin, so yeah, the first set.
Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool to see when, like, you know, the fans of a game come together and like you know, try like make it stay alive. I think it's a cool thing. I come from the Netrunner community where there's null signal games that are done the exact same thing, and like without it, the game wouldn't be the same. I think it's awesome what you guys are doing.
Yeah, thank you.
What thoughts did you have on the match?
Well, I was expecting to see more McGonagall creatures, but you're the first one I think I met.
Yeah, and from what I understand, this is like pretty unconventional build as well. When I've played practice games of it, seem to play a lot more tiny creatures, you know, lower power curve.
Yeah, and the deck usually goes tiny creatures, Steel Flow, and use Transfig to remove whatever is threatening you.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not common to see around 2/8.
No, yeah, no. That's the impression I've got from talking to others and from the decks I've seen, and I'm not convinced it's a terrible idea to ramp to 8, but
No, it's not at all. It's just less people do that. But
yeah,
there isn't really a well-defined meta yet, so anything
yeah,
goes.
exactly. That's one of the things that's really exciting about the game as it is now. It feels like there's a lot of room for exploration.
Yeah.
Maybe especially because there aren't a huge amount of people playing as well, and I always enjoy that when it feels like you can come in and sort of explore and maybe find new things.
Yeah, I feel the same.
And so my particular thought in this matchup was, it feels like the kind of matchup where if you start, I probably always lose. Like maybe not always, but
Yeah, that's something that happens more than I like in this game. Starting is like net advantage.
Yeah, it's a lot. I like yeah, personally I think maybe that could be changed, to try to balance, out the starter advantage in some way.
Trust me, it was suggested many times. Everyone has their opinion, and
yeah,
they often clash with each other. So we still have to find a good way. Also,
right.
there's a cliche of game of people who only play classic and really do not like changes to the rules. So
yeah, I think maybe that part I totally understand, because the classic is like, I guess, an attempt to just keep things. Well, it's not an attempt. It's just keeping things as they were, like being like, it's okay. You guys can play the way you like to play and the way you used to play, and that's fine. But I figure there could be maybe a different rule set for Revival, because that's it really under control of you.
We've already started doing that with the ban list and
exactly,
implementing until effects correctly.
So there could also be, game mechanics wise, there could also be changes. I know there's also rulings differences, like the burrow combo doesn't work the same in Revival as in Classic.
That's what I meant with the until effects being implemented correctly in Revival.
Yeah. So back to the matchup again. I've told this story to, I think, maybe everyone who has come on to talk to me, and I submitted my deck, like I threw it together like 1 or 2 hours before the deadline. I just had it in my head that I want to try Revival, and it would be cool to stream me just like going into a tournament with a pretty fresh view, and then like just seeing how it goes, and then like explaining my thoughts as they evolve while I'm playing. So I basically took a deck that I had in Classic and made some few changes, and went straight into the format. So one of the things I missed was that Doubles Disappearance isn't banned. You can actually play one copy. So
you can play one
copy. Yeah. So I'm missing a copy of that card, which I should have in my deck. And then the other thing was my sideboard. I didn't really know the metagame. I think the only knowledge I had was I saw a little bit of an old final. And because of that, I thought that the burrow combo was still a thing, because in that final, the burrow combo was played. So some of the logic of my choices, like playing Outpost, was when I discard my hand, I figure I can search out Outpost, play it, draw 3, and then draw another card to stay at 4. That was one of the ideas. Maybe I don't even need to do that because I'm McGonagall, but that was the idea anyway. But yeah, one thing I totally missed out on, which is my Achilles heel that you exposed in this game, which is a lot of tiny creatures. Is really hard to deal with unless I just make you stop playing them early in the game. Because at some point, you just get too many, so that I can't get rid of them all before I die, So I would have loved to have Drawing the Sword in my sideboard, which is a card I only learned about the day after.
Oh, you don't have that one. I see.
Yeah.
I was constantly expecting that.
Yeah, so maybe I shouldn't be revealing this because I'll be I'll be playing you again, but no, I
Are
don't.
you actually getting a top cut?
Sorry, if we're getting a top cut?
Yeah. We're getting one.
Yes.
That's so weird. Okay.
Yeah, I know it's very strange to me, but yeah, it will. If I understand correctly, there will be a top cut because. So what I heard was, yeah, that if there is a tie for second, then the top cut will be expanded to include all of the people that tie for second. So right now, if it's possible that we will have a top 4, but it's more likely that we'll have a top 3 with you at the top, and then you will rematch whoever wins in the first one, I guess.
I see.
I think that's how it works.
Okay.
From what I
Yes, we
understood. Yeah, but I think that is the card that I absolutely need to have in my sideboard, because otherwise I lose all of these matchups with tiny creatures, and I think that's a card that can save this, that can swing it back in my favor, possibly. If I go second, I still have a chance to win the game. I don't know if you have thoughts on that, but that's what I was thinking with these kinds of matchups.
I was expecting to be Zorded every turn, so yeah. Definitely.
Okay.
You absolutely need that card.
Yeah, and that is just because, I'm like completely new to the format, and I had not even looked at the new cards yet. So I actually looked through them all the day after submitting, just so I know what cards are available. But yeah, I didn't get to to have any of them in the game, unfortunately. So it went sort of as expected. Well, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get any wins at all, but when I was starting, it felt like a lot more comfortable. So it could be the kind. I still feel like it's overall favored against you. In the first game, I wasn't sure if I should use McGonagall or not on your adventure, because I didn't know how many adventures you played, and if you follow it up with it through the arch, then I'm like completely dead after that. Like I just lose on the spot.
Yeah.
So I was afraid of that.
I took them all away from the deck while sideboarding.
Oh yeah, the adventures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I that was my assumption. So actually, yeah, in the second game, I said it like I think he just took them out because I didn't see any in the second game. So for the third game, I just sort of assumed that they weren't there anymore, which made me think that you didn't have more adventures in your sideboard, or maybe you just feel like it's too much of a cost to get through McGonagall.
Yeah, it's not worth doing it unless you have a lot. If your deck revolves around adventures, then you can do that, no problem. But I have 2 or 3 slots for those in the deck, or if I really need you to stay down. But
yeah, that makes sense. From my perspective, it's like you're always scared that after they play the Hagrid needs help, you're like, well, I could use McGonagall, but if I do, then there's a lot of adventures that screw me over afterwards. But then, yeah, I have to sort of know, I don't know, what your list looks like, which is kind of difficult, especially if you don't know the meta. So you don't know, like, what is the typical choices here. But the cards that I'm thinking about is mainly, like, I guess, escaping the Dursleys and through the arch.
There's also Letters from No One, which is quite useful.
Letters from No One, though, I find it's not as devastating because it doesn't like lock me out. Well, the most devastating is through the arch, because spending 2 turns just skipping actions is probably too much.
Yeah.
Letters from No One, I can at least get rid of in a somewhat comfortable manner, because after a while, well, it depends on the situation, after a while your hand fills up with cards that you don't want to use anyway, like late in the game, maybe you have a lot of lessons or outposts or whatever, and you can pitch them. But yeah, skipping actions is very rough.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on a second. Okay. Yeah. Sorry if I'm rambling on.
No. It's interesting to hear that.
Okay, cool. So it was. I thought it was a cool match. It was interesting to see your deck as well. When I looked at this Hagrid, my initial thought was, because I didn't consider all the options. My initial thought was, that he didn't seem that great because I was in my head. I was just like thinking about the damage dealing creatures you could play, like giant tarantula, forest troll, baby dragon, and so on. And while Hagrid provides a lot of value, I think the main issue with discarding your lessons is usually that you lose the action. I'm not sure though about if that's correct, but it seems like you sort of agree based on the way you built it. You simply put Unicorn in, which is a way to get your actions back, at least over time. So you get, if it stays on the board for just one turn, then you already have, your return on your investment and more, right? So that seems like a perfect use case. And then the Forbidden Corridor. Actually, a guy in chat was like, well, if Forbidden Corridor triggers before your turn, then how come you get to draw from Hagrid? And I had to explain that before your turn is...
one of the many weird wording what's he used. Before your turn is actually part of your turn, so yeah.
Yeah, it was strange. Maybe they made a lot of those decisions. I don't know, because they
there's a lot of bad wording in this game.
Yeah, it felt like they wanted to make this game more casual, and that might have meant that in some cases, like it for people who really care about the details, that the stuff becomes super unclear, which is kind of strange because they are used to being good at that kind of stuff with Magic the Gathering and so on. But it's just the vibe in this game is so different.
I don't know when was the formalism made for MTG. I don't remember.
The what?
The logical formalism for the game. So when you define the whole rule set as a game state machine.
That's I don't know actually. It's a good question.
I think it was after they made this game.
Maybe could be. It's just, but it had existed for 9 years, I think, when they released the Harry Potter game. So I guess I just assumed that they would have had better structure there. But yeah.
For starters, they were stuck in MTG, which is not a thing in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And that helps a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, yeah, so I was just, your deck looks pretty cool.
We were talking about Hagrid. Sorry, I had a thing to say.
No. I mean, go ahead. We're just doing whatever comes to mind.
So, when we released that, I was absolutely sure nobody would use it as a starter, except for the memes.
Hagrid.
Hagrid. I really didn't see it as a good starter, and now I'm using it.
Yeah. And would you say that this is like one of the better decks in the format, or you're playing it more because you just like it?
The deck I'm using right now needs a lot of refining, polishing. Yeah. I don't know the correct term. Like, heals not that great. I would rather put some more of these.
More healing?
Yeah. And also some other changes that I thought after I started. The fact is, this particular iteration of the deck I've never tested. I just made it and submitted. And the whole deck is this, basically. Hagrid, Unicorn, and Forbidden Corridor. Everything else is useful stuff.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, the whole idea is you have Hagrid, you have Unicorn, and you have Forbidden Corridor. You are getting so many more actions than your opponent.
Yeah, Unicorn seems like it's something that you basically have to target it immediately, or you fall behind.
Yeah,
but I would assume.
Like, having 6 HP makes it hard to kill.
Yeah, I'm thinking like you would target it with picking on Neville, maybe Scribblifors. In my deck, you could play Diffindo, but of course then you would need to be at 8 power, so maybe it's a bit late at that point. But I mean, you probably still want to do it later on, just to not let you have that action. But yeah, it's tricky to get rid of. Like one of the best cards to do it, I guess, is Dobby's Disappearance.
Yeah, that's out.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. No, it's a cool deck, and but the shell seems pretty solid. Like just playing Hagrid with Unicorn and Forbidden Corridor.
Yep. Yeah, as I said, that's about it. Everything else you can basically change however you want. I just went hard on the creatures and threw in a little bit of removal.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And yeah, healing and Peeves, because healing and Peeves too strong.
Yeah, that's another thing I noticed that I'm doing in an unconventional way is I don't play characters, which I probably shouldn't tell you once again. But
well, I've seen your deck since it's on the discard pile. But...
yeah, it's true. Well, technically, I have 2 cards left and 5 cards in my hand. But yeah.
They are revealed.
Actually, I'm revealing my hand. God damn it. Let's conceal it. There we go. Now it's no way that you'll remember what it contains.
You have 7 characters.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I think those were most of my thoughts. Did you have any other thoughts you want to throw out there?
I surely do, but I have to remember them, which is hard. I came to play right after work.
Yeah.
My brain is not really prepared.
That's
I need some sleep.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'm sure we'll bump into each other some other time.
Yep.
And if I do another tournament, I will stream it probably. So yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah. Okay, well, it was nice chatting to you, man, and it was nice to play you, and I hope to see you in the finals.
Yeah, see you soon.
All right, see you, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody. I think so. This means I'm either going to a top 3 cut or a top 4 cut, and probably after that I will. Well, we don't know. If I start against this guy again in the last match, maybe that means I have enough momentum to get a win. Unfortunately, our sideboard doesn't do anything against him, so that's a problem. But looks like if we start, we have a chance. So if we roll the right way, maybe I can win the finals. So the hope to win the tournament is still alive. And yeah, and we have good chances to at least get to 2nd place, which is nice. So thanks for watching. See you next time, everybody, when the top cut starts. Bye bye.